Welcome to the Indiana Department of Education 2016 Annual Safety Meeting. This lesson will be over accident management. Here's a brief overview. The National Highway Traffic Safety Association statistics show that between 2004 and 2013, there were 340,039 fatal motor vehicle traffic crashes. Of those, 1,214 were classified as school transportation related. School transportation is the safest mode of transportation on four wheels in the United States, but we still have to be prepared in the event a school bus is involved in a minor fender bender or a catastrophic accident that involves a fatality. The things we'll cover is preparedness, bus driver responsibility, evacuation, corporation responsibility, and post-accident. Accidents happen. No one wants to be involved in a crash, but we must prepare ourselves in the event an accident occurs. So let's look at prepare. It is imperative that you know your policy and procedures. When in doubt, ask questions. Train your students on their responsibilities if involved in an accident. Reinforce training procedures with your students. Make sure all exits and install safety equipment are in good working order. A current updated roster of all children transported. In most cases, as bus drivers, you get on your bus every day and typically drive that route with no issues. But daily, it should be a situation where you're continually preparing yourself in the event something may happen. Maybe that's reinforcing training procedures or safety procedures every time a kid gets on and off the bus. Kids are resilient, but you have to remind them daily of safety. And even though accidents rarely happen, that's something else that has to be reinforced as well. Bus driver responsibility. In the event an accident occurs, some basic information should be reported to dispatch or whomever you report to. Find out from your transportation on who will call 911. So really, when you have an accident, the first thing you have to do, if you're not incapacitated, is get a hold of transportation. Let them know your location, that you've been involved in an accident, because there's a good chance you're going to have to leave your microphone to go assist the children. So just make sure transportation is aware that something has happened and where you're at. Always give your bus number. A lot of times in critical situations, we tend to forget training and education, but it is important you let them know where you are and who you are. So definitely give them the bus number and who they're talking to. Location is really important. Where are you located? In the event you lose communications with base, get out where you are. So, even though everybody has a cell phone, things of that nature, you want to definitely make sure transportation knows where the bus is located, because you're not always, maybe you won't have power on board the school bus, or maybe you lose communications. But if you can get that information out, do so. And always have the phone number to transportation and call them. Typically, they will call 911 for you, but if you lose communications with your base, then call 911 and then get a hold of them and let them know, hey, there's a problem. Report the number of students on board and the number of injuries or non-injured status. That's really important, because if you're involved in a minor fender bender and you look and see, all the kids are okay, or maybe you only got 2 or 3 kids on board the bus, definitely report how many students are on board that bus, because typically when emergency medical services, hear of a school bus accident, the assumption is instantly, anywhere from 50 to 80 kids and they all hurt. So be very clear and precise with the number of students you have on board and the injuries you may be occurring. When in doubt, always let them know, hey, I need a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck, or whatever the case may be. It's better to have more and not need them than to have less and find out you got a really bad situation. Give the extent of injuries if you can. Is there entrapment? Is there a kid trapped on board the bus? The number of vehicles involved, and what's your intentions? Are you evacuating, and any other pertinent information? So are you getting kids off the bus? Are you going to remain inside? Only you will know what you're going to do because you're in the actual situation. So transportation is there to help you, definitely, if you have communication, but keep in mind it's just really you and those kids. So you're going to have to make decisions based on your school district policy and what's going on in that moment. Again, know your district policy and procedures. This is just a guide of things to think about in the event an accident does occur. In some instances, you may not be available to give this information, but teach your students what to do in the event you're incapacitated. So train your students. If you can, definitely train all of your students how to use your radio in the event something happens to you. Go over the safety procedures. Just let the kids know, hey, in the event we ever have an accident and I'm not here to help you or I can't help you, this is what I want you to do. Let's look at evacuation. If you have determined evacuation is necessary, find a safe place, typically 100 feet from the accident scene. Count the children as they depart the bus. Have an accurate roster of students on board. Even if you're a substitute driver, you still have to know who's on board that bus. Even if you got to check off names as the kid boards the bus, you should know who's on that bus at all times. Keep the students calm, and if possible, have them sit down. You can imagine the chaos if they are allowed to mill around. So if you evacuate the bus, keep the kids calm, get them all seated on the ground, keep them huddled together where you can keep an eye on them, and just, keep them calm, because no matter what type of kids you transport, whether you have a rambunctious bus, a quiet bus, typically in an emergency situation, even the busiest child becomes a normal frightened kid because it's not time to play games anymore. So you definitely want to keep those kids close by. When help arrives, have the children checked out and do not allow any children to leave the scene with a parent. So a lot of times when an accident occurs, typically the kids, because just about every kid has a cell phone or something like that, typically the kids have already notified their parents, hey, we've been in an accident. And a lot of times you will have parents rush to the scene. Some parents will want to take their kids away and take them to the hospital. Let those parents know, I need the kids to stay here until somebody from the school corporation or EMS has released them or something like that, and keep an accurate number of anybody that's being taken away by their parent. Typically, if a parent takes a child away from an accident scene, they are assuming responsibility for any injuries after that. But this is something you definitely want to discuss with your transportation personnel, that in the event a parent does show up at an accident and take their kid away, what do you want me to do, or how do we handle that situation? Keep in mind with cell phones, social media, etc., you may find parents on the scene before emergency help arrives. So train your students on proper school bus evacuation. All right, Indiana Law 575 IAC 1-10-2 bus evacuation drills. A school bus driver operating a school bus shall at least once a semester conduct a school bus passenger evacuation drill. All school bus passenger evacuation drills shall meet the following minimal standards: be completed in 2 minutes or less, be conducted within 45 school days of the beginning date of each semester. Use only emergency exit doors or service door for the passenger evacuation drill. Driver must be present at all passenger evacuation drills. At the completion of each school year, the bus passenger evacuation drills for each school corporation or private school shall have included the following: the use of all emergency exit doors and service door, one drill with the school bus driver not directing the passenger evacuation drill, each student receiving appropriate instruction for the passenger evacuation drill, Documentation of the bus passenger evacuation drill shall be reported to the designated school corporation or private school representative. Documentation of the bus passenger evacuation drill for each school corporation or private school shall be reported to the Department of Education by June 30th of each year. Any student exempted from physical participation in a passenger evacuation drill shall have documentation on file at the school. Now let's look at the exit law. Indiana Code 9-21-12-18, school bus, special purpose bus, exit blocking prohibited. Whenever a school bus or special purpose bus is at a place of departure for transporting passengers, the bus emergency escape exits, doors, emergency exit windows, roof exits, and service doors must be free of any obstruction that inhibits or obstructs an exit or renders the mean of the exit hazardous. A driver who knowingly operates a school bus or special purpose bus in violation of subsection A commits a Class C misdemeanor. A person who knowingly directs a driver to operate a school bus or special purpose bus in violation of subsection A commits a Class C misdemeanor. Keep in mind, there may be situations where you evacuate part of your bus but remain with students who are injured or unable to evacuate. So in this situation, you really want to have, a strong student who can lead the children that are evacuating the bus over to a designated area to sit down properly. If you have a kid that is trapped on board the bus or things of that nature. Depending on weather conditions and if there's a danger of fire, sometimes the safest place for the students are to remain on the bus, but you will make that determination after you assess the situation. Corporation responsibility. Send out an all call notifying parents of an incident with their child's school bus. Most corporations in the state do a really good job of keeping the parents informed of what's going on. Whenever there is an accident involving a school bus, the media is quickly on the scene for the story. Ensure transportation personnel are briefed in how to deal with the media. In most cases, drivers should refer media to their superintendent's office. Someone from corporation transportation should arrive on scene for management of the accident scene to assure everyone is accounted for, receiving required treatment, crowd management, and preservation of scene and assets. Coordinate with emergency personnel where the injured are being transported, what hospitals, etc. If you have parents show up to the scene after EMS has taken, students away to a certain hospital or something like that, typically there is a lead firefighter or paramedic or police officer that can tell you exactly where the kids are being transported to. A log should be maintained at the scene when EMS has checked the child and released that child to the custody of a parent or guardian. In some cases, and it's unfortunate that this happens or could happen, you may have a kid that's perfectly fine at the accident scene, but by the time the parent gets them home or gets them to a medical facility, now the kid has a lot of other issues. That doesn't mean that the kid is faking or that it couldn't happen, but typically you want to make sure EMS checks that kid out on the scene and hear from that kid's mouth that they feel fine or whatever the case may be. A representative from the school the children are being transported to or from should be on hand who may be familiar with students, parents, guardians, etc. So this may be a principal, vice principal, something like that shows up to the scene. This says, yes, this is this child's mother or father or something like that. Even though we see our kids every day when we pick them up and drop them off, depending on the age of the kid, you don't always see the parents there. So a lot of times in an accident situation, you may not know that parent that has showed up is actually that child's parent or guardian. If the accident has injuries or a fatality, the Indiana State Police needs to be notified. Post-accident, police reports should be obtained by transportation or the school corporation. Follow up on student injuries and hospitalization. Driver's physical information, the CDL physical, Title 20 physical, make sure those are current. Training information, current yellow or blue card, physical performance test standards completed. In a serious accident involving injury or fatality, this information will be reviewed. Post-accident drug testing also. Typically, most school corporations will do a post-accident drug test. If a kid is injured, if there's a fatality, the driver will definitely be tested. District insurance provider contacted and made aware of the accident. Know your corporation's policy. This is something that we continue to stress all the time is, as bus drivers, know your policy. One of the biggest issues that we deal with at the Department of Education when it comes to certain situations is complacency. You guys are professionals. You drive those buses every day, and it's easy to become complacent, but definitely take the time to review your school corporation's procedures on accident management and your transportation procedures. This training was provided to give a brief overview of accident procedures and management. But again, it does not trump your policy. This is, if nothing else, this training is provided for you to go back and get acquainted with your policies to know, hey, in the event of an accident, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to do it? It is our hope that you never need these procedures, but we want you to be prepared in the event you ever find yourself involved in a vehicle accident. This concludes the 2016 ASM on accidents.